Hello everyone, and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Lyndall Stout. Even with chances of rain, wildfire risk certainly remains high in Oklahoma this time of year. So this week we want to begin with some common sense ways to protect your home and your property with OSU Extension fire ecologist John Weir.
Hello, I'm John Weir. I'm the Senior Extension Specialist for Prescribed Fire and Fire Ecology here at Oklahoma State University. And today we're going to talk about how to protect your home and property from wildfire. Things to think about around your home would be up at the eaves if you have guttering and you have trees, especially a lot of hardwood trees around your home. They're going to deposit leaves when the leaves come off and get collected up in there. That has been a definite cause of a lot of problems and fires to homes and stuff, is by not cleaning those gutters out and keeping them clean and embers getting in there and catching the eave of the house on fire. The other thing to think about is what else is around it, like wooden privacy fences are also a big culprit and problem for homes, because again, that wooden fence comes right up there next to the house and attaches to the house in most cases, and it's also right there underneath the wooden eaves or the soffit of the house. And so again, that fence catches on fire from a fire coming through there, and the flames go up and get into the eave or the soffit of the house, and that's what causes that. Just like here behind me, you want to think about your flower beds and things like that. You probably want to remove some of the vegetation from this flower bed. Again, it's all dormant, dead fuels and stuff, and so you want to cut and remove that fuels to get them out of there so you don't have any problems and take any chances of it being a problem like that. So with that, let's go around back of the house and look at some other things that we might that would be a concern. All right, around on this side of the house, you can see we have a deck. Again, decks can be a big concern because again, a lot of times too, again, it depends on what that deck is constructed of. So again, this deck here is made of composite material, so it's not as flammable. So that's a good thing to think about if you're thinking about building a deck or replacing boards and things on a deck that needs it, is using composite material so it's not as flammable. But with any kind of deck though, it's really good. As you'll notice, we have stuff taken down all the way to the ground level, so that way stuff cannot blow underneath and accumulate and collect. So again, if you have an area around your home, you got a lot of leaves and stuff, you don't want all those leaves blowing and accumulating underneath that deck, because all that fuel accumulates and embers can fall down between those cracks and gives it a very good source of ignition from underneath there. Another thing also to think about, just like what we have up here, we've got patio furniture and stuff on that. One of the things to think about, especially if conditions warrant it, or if you have a lot of patio furniture, those cushions and stuff are extremely flammable. Embers can drop on them. That foam is very flammable. That could be another source of ignition. So during bad weather or during fire weather periods of wildfire conditions, you may want to store those cushions and stuff indoors somewhere safe where they won't be a problem, won't be an ignition source setting on that patio or on that furniture. So now we've looked at that, let's go look at some outbuildings, look at the shop over here and see what we can do to protect it. One thing we need to do with our shop buildings, outbuildings, and barns that we have is get into practice of keeping the doors and everything closed up on them. That's just good practice to do, and it's really good to do during wildfire season, because again, we don't want any way for embers and stuff to get in that building. You know, we got to reduce that chance of that, because there is a lot of flammable material typically stored inside shops and barns and things like that. So again, the more that we can keep it closed up, the less chance that we're going to have fire inside there. So remember, keep that things closed up, keep the doors shut at all times. The other thing to think about, especially with outbuildings, just like your home, is thinking about what is stored or what is growing right next to that building and stuff. So again, just like your home, you want to make sure you don't have flammable material stored right there next to your house. So again, wood, any kind of flammable stuff. Don't stack hay right next to your building. You know, move that stuff out away from there a distance, so if it does catch on fire, it's going to have an area to burn. It's not going to damage your building or take a potential of catching that building on fire or anything inside of it. The other thing to do, where it has been a problem with it, that I've heard from several people have their barns burned up, is where they've allowed grass and stuff to grow up between and go underneath the tin and get inside the building, and that fire travels through that. So again, it's really good practice to weed eat, manage that vegetation and keep it down really short around your building, and keep that fuel load down so stuff that can't grow up real tall next to it or even take the chance of it growing inside the building. So again, I hope this helps, and I hope you all stay safe during this wildfire season. And again, remember to just a little bit of thought and a little bit of preparation long before a wildfire ever occurs goes a long way. And for more information about wildfire prevention and wildfire protection of your home and property, go to the SUNUP website.